All right. So Casey, who oversees all of our direct education, just asked if I could share a little information about the Create Farm Fresh Foods. One of the main reasons being that we have a lot of new people on staff, and we just want to help you understand how to access the resources and also clarify a couple things that makes this different than Create Better Health as far as surveys go. So just an explanation. This is a subset of classes for Create Better Health. It is not standalone anymore as it was in previous years. There's not enough content to match with the standard that we've set now with Create Better Health. And so what you're able to do is you're able to take the different lessons and then replace the physical activity portion of Create Better Health with these topics. So you, in a class, you would begin with the nutrition topic, depending on whatever lesson it is, and then you would choose a Create Farm Fresh Food topic, being overcoming barriers to shopping at farmers market, fruit and vegetable swaps in menu or in recipes, meal planning with farm fresh food. And like I mentioned, this will be in place of the physical activity. And a little background, the purpose that we're really encouraging folks to take advantage of farmers markets, from a policy system and environment point of view, we've been working closely with other organizations to help people overcome barriers from shopping at farmers markets. For example, there's the Double Up Food Bucks program, where people with who have SNAP are able to go, and for those who may not be familiar with what happens at the farmers market, typically SNAP recipients will go to a special booth that's for them. They'll take their card, they'll swipe it, and then they'll get tokens in exchange for credits that are on that account. And so they can get up to $20, when they get up to $20 worth of tokens to buy any approved foods there. That could be bread, it could be eggs, it could be any kind of thing that's approved for SNAP at the market. They'll get 20 tokens matched, so essentially $20 that have to be spent on fresh fruits or vegetables. So that's the Double Up program, and it's doubled this year. So last year it was 10, you can get up to $10 to get $20 worth of food. They doubled it, so if they spend $20, now they'll be getting $40 worth of food for that $20. So that is a great sort of intervention that we want to support. We found that the research, people who shop at farmers market are associated with having an increased consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables. Also, if I remember correctly, Matea did considerable research showing that our booths and having education paired with it helps increase the likelihood that people will shop at the markets, as well as try new fruits and vegetables there. For example, your samples. I think farmers reported actually having higher sales of items that are highlighted in the different recipe samples. And so this is definitely a great sort of relationship. We're able to support local food, things that are very healthy. And, you know, I was just talking here with people about fresh tomatoes. It's like people have not really had a tomato until they've had a fresh tomato just picked off the vine in your grandpa's garden sort of thing. That there may be people that don't even realize what fruits and vegetables they do like because they haven't experienced having food that's not fresh. And so it's a great opportunity to introduce it to them. Something that's different, and actually I'm going to share screen and jump to the staff menu to show where everything is as well. So here at the staff menu, lessons for adults, Create Farm Fresh Food. Here you'll have the curriculum, which you'll see that it is definitely pared down. And Casey has a great explanation here as well. I encourage you to look over it before you start a class series. But she shares how you can fit in the different pieces into Create Better Health. So you can do benefits of shopping at the farmer's market, how to overcome barriers. There's different handouts. And so she's really laid this out to be very beneficial and to help you. A great thing as well is farmers market tour. There's a fun scavenger hunt for adults and children that can make it engaging, because a lot of people who go to the farmer's market, it's not just about the food. Part of it's about the experience. It's fun. There's music. There's this kind of camaraderie or the sense of community. And you can help them be a part of that through the tour. So back here, you'll see the handouts. I think an important thing to keep in mind as well, let's go back to pairs and reporting. We have a unique evaluation for Create Farm Fresh Food. It is the same survey in every class. Part of it is meant to see if there's incremental increase in consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables associated with each class. So it's especially important to make sure that you're sharing the survey at the same time in your classes, whether that's the beginning or the end. We probably should just make a standard statewide. You all think?
Yeah.
Evaluation person, the end.
Uh-huh.
It has been decided at the end of your classes. Just that way we can know, like, oh, this is what they report at the end of class 1. This is what they report at the end of class 2. Like, wow, compared to class 2, class 6, there's a lot more. So just to show that incremental increase. And this is shared, the same survey in every class. So I know we've been talking about, oh, we have these different surveys for Create Better Health. Just to keep you on your toes, now you have the same survey for each class if you're doing the Create Farm Fresh Food portion with Create Better Health. And it just gives us a better kind of grasp on our work with the farmers market, double up food bucks, as well as that specific consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables. And what's interesting too is that the questions are from BRFIS, which is a really long survey behavior.
Yes, the B is for behavior.
Yes, the B is for behavior, and I'm like, well, factors, something survey. It's
for what's our
behavior related
that? Yeah,
something.
we won't worry about that.
I rely too heavily on that, but that's actually a survey that's available nationwide that states can use, and so we can compare this data to actually population-wide data to see if there's an increase. Oh, how much would I bet someone's going to give you the answer?
Do you want to hear what it is?
Oh, okay. Sure, let's hear what it is.
It's the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System.
Thank you.
That's
As soon as you say it, then I'm like, that's right.
Oh,
You are correct.
Behavior risk factor
Yeah.
surveillance
Good job,
system.
You are correct.
So Paula, do we have to do that class at a farmer's market location? No. You could if it fits there, but this will be like a Create Better Health class with that supplemental material from Create Farm Fresh Food. So if you have the space and kind of an area where people can listen and pay attention, you could, or where would be a good idea to offer the class? I think anywhere that you offer most of the classes, especially if it is conveniently located near where a farmer's market will be, would be good.
Also,
And there's the tour that you can do at the farmer's market on the day of the market.
if you have already taught 4 classes in a series, do your evaluation of the Create Better Health series, and they want to come back, start on these. These are perfect timing right now to provide the participants with additional education, and so that's a great way to increase their learning.
Great, thank you. Thanks for the question, Paula. So yes, a few other notes that I have from Casey. So there's also the farmer's market toolkit, which Jackie here helped create. This will be the test if I can find it. Oh, farmer's market. Perfect. Thank you, Jocelyn.
I like a little test.
There it is. Was it a test for you or for me? So here we have the farmer's market toolkit. It gives you information about doing booths. I think what's especially great, they have ways to create bigger batches of samples. Just a reminder, we encourage, if it's possible, to do the samples on site so people are able to see them as a demonstration, just to add that extra factor of education.
Keep them
Also,
simple.
keep them simple.
Even if it's cutting up the fruit or vegetable and letting them try it.
Yeah.
Try salt. Try.
Try a fresh tomato,
Yeah,
not from the store.
Exactly.
Nasty
Exactly.
in the winter.
When
They're not all that
And it's true.
They're like, this is what a real tomato tastes like.
Or the difference between a homegrown strawberry and a strawberry from
Right,
the store.
from the store.
Completely different.
And so even just having that comparison, you're like, oh wow. And who knows, maybe they'll prefer the store one. I don't know, but it's education, so they'll know. We have posters. And some of these are posters that we created last year, which actually, interestingly enough, will match a promotion campaign that we are doing. What's the thing? I might have to
Have a new computer.
Yeah, it's down. So there's also posters, which I might have these updated. We can talk about it if we want it to have the same title of Eat Fresh, Buy Local. Although if it's only associated with our class, I think Eat Farm Fresh works too. So that's just kind of what we.
We're talking about changing the name.
Yeah, there's some questions in the chat.
Yeah, there's some while we're waiting.
Yes.
Kathy Riggs says, so we don't need to worry about the health department checking on whether we have a source for washing hands or produce.
Absolutely, you do. You need to follow what the health department guides are, and they outline it for you at the market.
And that's why I had that. If it's
right?
if
Yeah,
it's
find out.
possible, we understand. In particular, there's some health departments that are more particular, or it just depends on your location where that isn't possible.
But you'll have some suggestions for the hand washing booth too.
Oh yeah. And can we purchase fruits and veg from the farmer's market itself to show that they like the taste of it?
Yes, if they take an EBT card and don't charge tax, then you can do that.
Or
I mean,
P
a
card.
P card.
Yeah.
Well, if they take EBT, they'll usually take card.
yeah. And yeah, I think some farmers, because they get a benefit from it, will be willing to donate too.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't want you to use their produce because they want to sell it too. I mean, they're selling it to you, but if you're buying all their produce and then showing them this is what the produce tastes like, and then there's nothing to buy, it's frustrating for the participants.
We would go and talk to the farmers beforehand, like the day before, and pick up produce from them, so then they could still bring as much as they needed to the market.
Oh, that's a great idea. So another thing to think about is you don't have to feed everybody at the market. So, or even give samples to everybody at the market. When you go to the grocery store, Costco, or places like that, you get a little sample, and there might be only 10 samples, and then they're gone for 10 minutes. That's okay. It's okay to only give out a few samples. This is a good place to be. And so those are why we're simplifying some of the things.
And the purpose is beyond the sample, though the sample is important. We're also there to get people to our classes and how to use those things that they're buying there at the farmer's market. And then also in our classes, we're trying to encourage people to go to the farmer's market. So yeah, don't over stress on that. It looks like in Salt Lake, they're required to prepare everything on site. So it really just depends on that, or whatever your health department or
And even
farmer's
market,
market
yeah.
asks of you. So yeah, thank you for this feedback.
For sure.
We have the recipe book. We may have an updated version this summer. It's in the works, but we'll see when it will be ready, just with updated recipes. And speaking of recipes, so there's a few different locations, but I, for simplicity, just thought, NEA resources, lesson resources, recipes. So we have our Food Sense Recipe Bank. And here there's a whole section for farmers markets. So here, updated. And it's listed by whatever produce that you are emphasizing. So here's a bunch for tomato. We encourage you to use these if you, I think the specific thing, something that Casey wanted to let you all know is, these have been tested. Don't don't feel like you need to take on that extra time to test other recipes or test the recipes on people. Probably best to choose something that people have confirmed they like, that align with what we're teaching, and just make it easier for yourselves. Oh yes, thank you, Christy. Get to know your market family. You can partner with multiple growers and showcase them. Make sure you let people that visit your booth know which growers provided the produce. So yeah, you can really start developing good relationships with those vendors. And you could probably especially try to select vendors that provide double up food bucks, because not necessarily everyone accepts EBT or double up food bucks at the market. Ask Heidi. I probably should have asked Heidi. I was on the. We need to all ask Heidi about printing farmers market recipes, and we'll send them to the counties.
Yeah, I think that if you have some that you want to print, that you let us know, because obviously we're getting into farmers market season. Some are already open, and so we should probably know what recipes you need, and you can reach out to Amanda for those to get them printed. We'd like it to be mass print, so maybe we'll give you a deadline. We'll send out something with a deadline of what you would like to have at the markets.
Thank you. Amanda, how's the best way? Do the survey or email you?
We'll send out some template for them. How does that sound? That we can say, what do you want?
We'll send you out a list of or a template or something, yeah.
So Kaylee Anderson, they're not necessarily on a card, but we will print them on paper for you that you can hand out. And so this is gonna be a good time to sort of start planning the recipes that you want to do. One emphasis, as we were talking about recipes, make sure whatever you're highlighting is available at the market that week, just so people aren't sampling something that they can't buy ingredients for.
Mm-hmm. And then also, if you're not using one of our recipes, just remember to use common ingredients and only a few, because we don't want to overburden our participants with having to shop specialty stores, plus they can't do that with their limited budgets. So be conscientious about that.
Excellent. All right. So what survey are we going to use for the Create Farm Fresh supplemental classes? Anyone?
It's a trick. Just kidding, it's not. The Create Farm Fresh survey.
Thanks, Heidi.
Okay,
someone out there. So, do we use different surveys or the same survey every week? You can turn your audio on if you'd like.
You use the same one every week.
Woohoo! Thanks, Mariana. Thanks, Marcia. I know it's silly, but it's just some back and forth, just so we all remember this is different than what we've been doing up to this point with Create Better Health, and so just to really remember that and remember why, because we're measuring the same thing each week to see if there's change. Yeah, and so there's also, you can use this, I did forget to mention, you will use the standard script for the Create Better Health. So the same script that you do to introduce the evaluation survey, you use for this as well. So you don't have a unique script. And then you'd also use the same informed consent form. Okay, are there any questions? Or actually, I'll ask anyone from Cash, how was the farmer's market on Saturday?
And Cash, tell everybody about your food drive at the farmer's market.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, well, I wasn't last week, but I was the first week on the 11th, and it was crazy. I think it went pretty good, but we had the health department, and they just show up and I'm like, oh my gosh, today is the first day and they're already here, but we did good. And we just prepare the cilantro yogurt dip in the kitchen. And after the rest, we were just putting back into the fridge. We have quite a few participants that seems like they're commonly there in the previous years, and they're always saying, "Oh my gosh, Food Sense! You know, we love your food and your classes and all that." But we noticed that the booth where they have where they change the snap head. Some people went to our booth and asked us about if we were the ones that changed the snap head points. So we were not sure, so we just kind of find out where it was. And but yeah, it wasn't very obvious that you have to go there. I don't know. Maybe, with the time people might know. But yeah, I think it went good. And other thing that we noticed is that when we had the samples, a lot of people stopped by. But if we didn't have samples, they didn't stop the same way in our booth than when we have the samples. And yeah, so I think it was good. It went good. And this weekend it was raining, so the carpet and everything, it was all wet for what I know, because Laura told me. But yeah.
Thanks, Paola. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And also, well, Hiram has been telling us that one of the plans that we have in cash is that we wanna, like you said, Heidi, we wanna cut the vegetables there. And it was hard because, to think in which recipe we're gonna make, because we don't have electricity. So we cannot use, like, for example, the blender or a grill, or, like a skillet, I mean. Yep. So we decided that what we're gonna do is just cut vegetables there on the side. And maybe just have the cooler with some ice as well. So in case of the health department show up, they don't give us a note or something. So, but yeah.
Makes me think of 4-H. He like makes little solar ovens. So you can
yeah, it was
like, hold on, it's warming up.
Partner with your 4-H. Just kidding.
Mariana has a question. If you don't have a farmer's market, I would go through the lessons, the topics, and choose what would be most appropriate, because there are things like storing fresh fruits and vegetables, the harvest season, things that can be relevant or more applicable maybe to your own gardening.
That's what I was going to say. This aligns perfectly with gardening as well. So if you're not doing it with a farmer's market, we're talking about changing the name from Create Fresh Farm Foods, or whatever it is, to fit gardening in there too, because it's very applicable for that.
With fresh food. So yeah, I would just choose those topics, Mariana, that would be relevant for someone without a farmer's market. So maybe skip the overcoming barriers to shopping at the farmer's market, but then use like the harvest schedule, because that could still be applicable to tell people for meal planning, like, oh, they can see what time of year it is, what's most likely available. And sometimes in smaller communities, even if people don't have their own gardens, I know like we drop off places like at post offices or at church buildings, people bring all their leftover zucchini, and you can find recipes from that. So there's some good things to apply. Something that I think we forgot to mention with cash too is that they've actually spoken with the vendors for those who don't want to haul any of their leftover fruits and vegetables back to the farms, that they can donate them to the food pantry and drop them off there at the Food Sense booth. And so kind of a gleaning sort of project for with the vendors, which would be a great thing if anyone wants to look into it. Maybe just let Casey know that you're planning on doing it. But that definitely aligns with the Create Healthy Pantries.
Okay, thanks, Lacey. Any other questions you guys have? All right, well, thank you for your time today. Stay tuned because in June we have some exciting new information that will come out that you're all gonna love. So we'll see you then.